seized. What the heck? Well, I gotta be honest, I'm a little disappointed in, 15 seconds of runtime on a batch of new parts. Tear it apart and see what happens. Well, see some scoring on the brand new piston, and there is a film on the exhaust port. Kind of looks like metal. There are chunks of metal in here. Man, the bottom end is seized up. You know, because there's chunks of metal in it. So I can clean this up and reuse it, but there's the problem. A chunk of it came off and then grenaded inside there and got stuffed into everything it could find. So that's not good for engines. It's kind of odd because my old cylinder had the same thing in a different place. Almost exactly the same break. I wonder if that's cause or effect. Cool. Apparently the bar oil tank is separated by the case, so if you do this, drain the oil tank first. But I think that this oil pump is knackered. I pulled some chunkies out of it. Appears to just be pressed together. Buy the whole thing when your bearing goes bad? Because that's a bad bearing. Alright, where did we land? So, get it apart this far, I'm going to replace the bearings and seals, and this bearing's pretty bad right here. I want to do a little research and find out if this is an assembly that you just buy, but I need at least a new link and bearing. And probably a whole new assembly. I think I need a new oil pump. Let's see what they cost. The piston's in pretty good shape, but I think that'll function. This looks pretty good too, but alright, so most of that looks pretty good. There's one spot right there. You see that? Something got caught in there and gouged. If those can be had for cheap, I don't know, maybe. If not, I'll bet I can get this one to work. So yeah, that's a shopping list. Alright, so a week later, I have got myself a new crankshaft, new bearings, and new seals. Let's see if we can't make this pile of parts into a running chainsaw. The seal presses right into the bearing. Why didn't they just use a sealed bearing? I was just thinking, man, I really feel like I'm forgetting something. Hey, I was right. That gasket goes in there. The other one I forgot last time is these bolts. The counterbores on the top are not big enough for the bolt heads on the aft too. You have to put them in now, or there's almost no way to fish them in. I tried for a while with tweezers and such and didn't really get anywhere. Took it apart, did it again. Now I know. And knowing, as they say, is half the battle. Taking bets. Will it start? I don't remember tightening the carburetor boot. Ha ha ha! Well, there's your problem. See that? Way down in there, I forgot to take the carburetor up. So, kind of amazing it worked as well as it did. Let's fix this. All right, take two. They're small. Well, needs tuning, but it runs. For now, I'll take it. All right, hopefully that's the rebuild done with. The last thing to do now, before I can start cutting some wood, is to tune it. There are 3 little holes here on those chainsaws, and that's for tuning the carburetor. The bottom one is the idle. All that does is run a little set screw, and that's when you let go of the trigger, that's what it bumps into. Turning this up is the same as just barely holding that running, but it doesn't make any adjustments to the actual fluid passages inside the carburetor. The other two do. There's 2 circuits in a carburetor, 2 ways for fuel to get into the engine. A low circuit and a high circuit. The low circuit is always open. Anytime the engine is running, fuel is passing through the low circuit and entering the engine. The high circuit only opens above a certain RPM. So you can turn these 2 screws and adjust how rich or lean the fuel passing through each of these passages is. So that's going to be out of whack, because last time I ran this saw was with an engine that badly needed a rebuild. So it's time to take it back to scratch and tune it up and try and get it running, or running well. I'm going to start with the low open 1 turn and the high open 2 turns. That's not important. That's just a starting place. We'll see if it works at all. Might not. I'll go from there. Wow. All right, that was on full choke. It never runs on full choke. The starting procedure for this saw is there's no primer bulb. You press a decompression valve on the top of the cylinder. You set it to full choke. You pull it until it sputters. Then you back it off to half choke and pull it until it starts. Holy crap, I can't believe that just happened. Got it to sputter on the first pull and then got it to start on the next. It didn't do that when it was new to me. So, alright. That was the most boring tuning video ever. I'm going to leave it at those settings and I'm going to start cutting with it. I'll make some tweaks and some adjustments. You saw that it smoked a lot. That may be because it's burning off the oil that I put on it during assembly, or it may be that it's tuned rich. If you were all excited to learn how to fine-tune a chainsaw and are disappointed that I didn't have to do any work here and go through the process, search bar at the top. There's tons of good videos on YouTube. I don't actually know what I'm doing, so you shouldn't learn from me anyway.